Hi there, partners. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Let's Put Our Cities on the Map, Get Found on Google Search and Maps, and Build Your Free Website workshop. We are thrilled to have you join us, and today's presentation will give you all the information that you need to get found on Google Search and Maps and build your free website. I want to remind everyone, as the workshop is happening, please write down any questions you may have and go ahead and give them to your local host so that we can answer them later on after the broadcast. Now, I'm joined today by my colleagues Stasia in Nashville and Marvin in Denver, and they will be leading this workshop. Before we get started, though, I just want to give a warm welcome to our partners in Oak Lawn, Illinois, Rockville, Maryland, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Bellevue, Washington, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome. And now I will go ahead and turn it over to Stasia in Nashville. Stasia, good luck.
Thank you, Gretchen. Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's workshop. My name is Stasia, and as Gretchen said, I am dialing in from Nashville, Tennessee today. So today's workshop is going to start you off by showing you how to help your businesses get found across Google Search and Maps. And so I will be walking you through the slides today. And let me start by talking about why we're doing this. It's important that your business information appears and that it appears correctly when people are searching online. In fact, research shows that 97% of consumers use the web to find local goods and services, but only 37% of businesses have actually claimed a local business listing on a search engine. So today's workshop is going to explain to you how to claim your local business listing using a tool called Google My Business. And this is going to make it fast and easy to help you manage your business information as it appears across search and maps. And it will help potential customers find important information like your phone number, your hours of operation, and driving directions. So let's take a look at this example. This is a Google search engine results page, and I did a search for a business called Dandelion Chocolate. They're in San Francisco, California. And you can see on the right-hand side of the page where their business details can appear. So you can see the name of the business and photographs and a map and hours of operation. And if you do this, create a listing with Google My Business, then you can go and control the details that Google will display about your business to make sure that they're consistent and up to date across search and maps. Now, this doesn't guarantee that you'll get that showing like you see with Dandelion Chocolate, but this can help. It also doesn't replace your business website. It really just complements it, and it can send more traffic there as well. But this is probably the fastest and easiest way for you to create and manage and control your information as it appears across Google. Now, I'm sure that there are many businesses out there that have a service area. That is, you might operate out of your home, but you actually go to different places to visit with your customers. So you can still create a Google My Business listing even if you don't actually have a physical storefront. And this is going to help people who are doing searches find businesses that are nearby. Just as a little bit of insight into how Google Maps works, it's going to look for what the person searched for, but it's also going to look at other factors like the relevancy of the business and the distance and the prominence. So by relevancy, I mean is how well did that person, what they typed into search, match your particular business result. If your business listing is detailed and up to date, it actually improves the chances that Google can show it on relevant searches. And distance is just like it sounds. So how close is the business that you have to where I am actually conducting that search? And third, prominence. That's gauged by how well known the business is across Google. So the more people are talking about you, the more websites link to you, the better the chances you have of Google showing you in the search results. But Google My Business is what we can do today to help Google understand what your business is about. Now, one more thing about this, it's really critically important that your business appears on any device when consumers want to know, go, do, or buy. And every day, consumers are going to turn to whatever device is handy to act on their needs. Smartphones have become indispensable. That's how people are doing all their shopping. In fact, it's grown 120% year over year. And you know how you kind of think, well, people might do some research or look something up on their phones and then go back to their computers and buy it later? That's not true anymore. Now a full 30% of actual purchases are happening right on those phones. So one of the great things about Google My Business is that it works across all of those devices, your tablets, your laptops, your computers, your smartphones. So by creating your listing and keeping your information accurate and up to date, you have an opportunity not only to connect with consumers, but to actually let them complete that process right there from their phones. Okay, so I think I probably laid the groundwork on why it's really, really important. One of the other stats we have from our presentation is that 97% of consumers are now starting their searches online. And if they can't find your business is essentially digitally invisible. So in the next few minutes, we'll be walking you through this process of actually creating that presence. And we will be introducing you to Google My Business and walking you through that. So there are two types of listings on Google My Business. We have brand listings and local listings. A brand listing is for a business or an entity that's not local. For example, an online-only company or an artist or an organization. And so these entities, they don't have that physical storefront, they don't have that service area. What we're going to be talking about today is the local listing aspect. These are businesses that either meet with customers in a local area or actually have a physical storefront that people can go to. And the difference between the listings is that with a local listing, you can appear both on search and maps, whereas for the brand listings, you can only appear on search. So today we're going to focus on local. All right, so what you see here is a website for gybo.com/business. That's the URL where everyone will be starting today when you walk through the process. And what you will do is you will start by seeing if or how your business appears across Google. So visit this webpage and then type in the name of your business. And the way this particular webpage works is it will autofill as it finds results. So what I use for my examples is a business called Stasia's Bakery. It doesn't actually exist. In fact, I can't even bake. I can bake a little bit. I can bake like from a box. But let's pretend I have a bakery, and so I start typing it in, and if I see the name of my business appear in the list below, I would click on it to proceed to the next step. And if I didn't see it, I would just finish typing out the entire name, and then I would click Not Showing Up. You'd see that pop up. And then I would get to the next page. Okay, so from this page, we are going to start seeing a diagnostic tool. And so once I've submitted that form and looked for my business, I will see one of three potential results, three outcomes. And the first one that I'm showing you on this slide, you see the example or the message, nice job, you're on the map. And so what this tells you is that the business is actually verified. That is, the business owner or someone who's authorized to manage the business has already proactively taken the steps to confirm the location. And so now they can sign into Google My Business and they can make updates to the listing and to the information as it appears across Google Search and Maps. And it'll show you down below suggestions for keeping the information accurate and up to date and give you a preview of that business as it could look across Google. You'll see the photos, you'll see the map, you'll see the details. And if any sections are missing, they'll be highlighted in yellow to let you know that the section needs your attention. Now, let's look at the second outcome, which says your business info is incomplete. And in that particular instance, it means that the location is known to Google, but it's unconfirmed, meaning no one has actually taken the next step and claimed the business listing as their own. So if this is your business, this is your cue to go in and to claim it. So now you can go in and you can update hours of operation, you can add additional photographs, you can respond to business reviews left across Google. And so you would click that button that you see in the screenshot to proceed to the next step. Now, the last one I want to show you in this screenshot is your business isn't on the map. And so that means that Google can't find your business on search and maps. And so it's very easy to go ahead and take that next step. You'll click on the button, and that's going to tie us straight into the process of creating a listing on Google My Business. And I'll walk you through that in a few minutes. Okay, so now that we've seen the 3 potential outcomes on this page, let's go to the next step. Well, let's do a little preview before the next step. Before you can use any of Google's products and services, you need to have a Google account. And a Google account provides a single login, a single sign-in, username and password that connects all of Google's, or anything that you have with Google, it connects those services together. So for example, if you've already signed into your Gmail address, which is automatically a Google account, you don't need to sign in again to get to your business listing on Google My Business, or to get into a Google Analytics account if you have that set up. A Google account is free. You can get to it at google.com/accounts. If you have a Gmail address, that's already automatically a Google account. Now, one other thing to keep in mind there, if you have a Gmail address that you're using for your personal items, you might consider creating a separate free Google account that you use just for your business. It's entirely up to you, but they are free. So the way I like to operate is I have one for my personal stuff, and then I have got one for all of my business accounts. Okay, so let's proceed to the next step, and now we are going to see a map. And on that map, you might see a list of businesses, and if your business appears in that list, you can click on it to go to the next step. If you don't see your business in the list, you'll see a link that says, let me enter the full business details, or in this case, we don't find any listings at all. So you'll click that last link that says, let me enter the full business details, and that will take us over to the next step. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to enter information about our business. So you'll start entering the name. So here you see I've entered Stasia's Bakery and the address. One thing to keep in mind here is this is the information that can show up across Google. So make sure you don't have your caps lock on, and pay attention to your capitalization and your spelling. If I had a nickel, I'd probably have $1 for every time I've been working with a business and they've accidentally misspelled the name of their business. And you can't fix that until after it's verified. So just go ahead and make sure that you're spelling everything in there correctly. Now, when you put your address in, there are a few guidelines to keep in mind. You need to enter the complete official address for your business, and please don't add extra details that for example, if you went to the U.S. Postal Service's website and you searched for your official address, that's what we want to have reflected here in this form. We don't want to see things like near this cross street, or near this landmark, or at the foot of these steps. Even if it helps humans, if it's not part of the official address, it shouldn't be entered here. Post office boxes are not allowed, but if you have an extra suite or office number, you can add that on the second address line. Now, you also need to add a category for the business, and the category is one of the things that really kind of gets people. Oops, hold on. There we go. Sorry, folks, you weren't looking at the right page. I hadn't advanced on my slide. So you can see here now on the form what all that I've been talking about, your address, and then here's the city, and here's the category. So the category, this is what holds people up. And you might not find the perfect category, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly a perfect description of your business. In fact, I was working with businesses the other day. It was a company, it was a gentleman in California who had these really nice sort of all-natural bath products that he was selling. And he couldn't find the perfect category for organic, all-natural bath products. So for him, we just used the category store. If you have a services-based company, maybe your category is consultant. But find something that is at least close. It doesn't have to be the perfect category, because you can then write a description for your business in a later step to help people understand what it is that you actually sell. Okay, Had to look and make sure that we advanced. Now, how many of you out there are actually working from home? Actually, a lot of businesses do, especially service area businesses where you'll meet with customers in your local location. Maybe that's a repair person, maybe that is any kind of services-based company. So what you can still do this. You can still create a listing with Google My Business, and you can still appear on the maps without actually showing your address or driving directions to your house. So what you're going to do here is look on the page, and you're going to find the checkbox that's labeled I deliver goods and services to my customers at their location. And you want to check that box that you see there right at the bottom. Now it will pop open another window, and you'll be able to basically specify whether that's in particular cities or particular zip codes or within a radius of a certain number of miles around your business. Now, Google doesn't actually give you an official recommendation for the size of your service area because this depends. For example, if you're in a densely populated area like New York City or Los Angeles, your radius might be 5 miles. But if you live in a rural area, your radius might be 100 miles. You want to choose a distance that makes sense for your business. Now, this is not the be-all and end-all as a way to market your business online, especially if you sell your products nationwide or worldwide. This is intended for your local presence. So it's really, think about it as a way as how far would I be willing to drive to meet with a customer today? And that should be the reflection of your service area. Now, one other thing to point out here, some businesses have both a physical storefront and a service area. And if that's the case, you want to show, look, I'll go within 50 miles and actually show the physical address on the maps. And that's where you would check the box that says, I also serve customers at my business address. So that does both. It gives you the service area and it shows the physical address for your location on the maps. Okay, great. Let's go ahead to the next step. This is step 4, where you're going to be confirming your business. Review your address one more time and make sure that you've spelled everything right. If you didn't, you can click the back button to make any corrections. Otherwise, check the box to confirm that you are authorized to manage this business and agree to Google's terms of service, and then you will click Continue to go to the next step. Okay, this is going to start the verification process. And the verification process confirms your location and your authorization to actually manage this business listing. So your verification options will appear on this page. And if you see more than one, you can choose the one that you prefer. But most businesses choose to verify by mail. And the way this works is that Google is actually going to send a mailing to your business address, the one that you entered when you created your business listing. And inside this mailing, there'll be a unique code that's unique to your account and to the business that you set up within the account. And you shouldn't share this code with anyone else. You'll need it to complete the process. Now, some businesses might see the option to verify by phone, and that's great. You can instantly verify if that's an option. However, if you have this option, you need to be able to answer the phone directly. If you have a voicemail system or a switchboard, a PBX, or a call center, it's not going to work. So when the phone rings, it will give you that verification code that you'll then enter into the next screen, and then your business will be verified. So that's another really fast and easy way that some of you might have to verify your businesses today. Now there's a third option, and you'll see it if it's available, and that uses Google Search Console, which used to be called Google Webmaster Tools. And so if your business is already verified through that service, you might see an option there for instant verification. So for this particular workshop, let's assume that we choose to verify by mail. So you're going to click the little arrow icon that's right next to Mail Me My Code, and that will take us to the next step. Now you'll see a preview of the mailing. You see what it would look like on the left. If you want to add someone's name for their attention, you can add that to the mailing as well. And then you click Continue. And once you've done that, it actually sets up that business listing in Google My Business for you and starts that process of getting that mailing sent out to you. Now, it's going to actually take a little bit of time. The mailing can take anywhere between 4 days and 2 weeks to arrive. And so you'll have some time in the meantime to actually work on your listing. So let's come back to verification in a few minutes. But while we're waiting for that postcard to arrive in the mail, let's take a look at Google My Business and a tour of what's inside. Okay, so this is the Google My Business dashboard, and here you can see information that you entered when you actually created the business listing a few minutes ago. You'll also see some additional sections like add a website and add hours of operation, so you can click directly on those sections that you see here in the dashboard. You can also click that red edit button that you see in the corner, and that will take you to go into a screen that allows you to edit the different sections. And if you look at the top navigation, you'll also see a link that says edit info. That'll take you to the same place. Now, from this page, there we go, we can actually edit the business details that appear across Google Search and Maps. So again, you want to be sure to use the correct spelling and capitalization and punctuation, because the text that you enter here can appear across Google. Google's not going to actually do any spell check or anything here for you. Now, to make changes here, you want to click the gray pencil icons that you see next to the sections, and from there it will pop open in a section like this introduction section that I'm showing you, where you can make those changes. So like anything with Google, the more you put in, the more you'll get out. So go ahead and add a complete listing. Add the phone numbers and the websites and the email addresses and the hours of operation, and write an introduction for your business. And then when you're done and you've added all the info that you can, click the button at the bottom labeled Done Editing. You can always go back in here. You can make changes anytime. In fact, every time something does change or you need to make an update, it's a great idea to get into the habit of going to your Google My Business listing and making those changes. Now, one other thing I want to show you here, a few other things that you can do to improve your business listing. Here we are back on the main dashboard page, and you can see the button that I'm highlighting here that says Manage Photos. And by clicking on this button, you can add images to help your business listing stand out across Google. Now, a few rules of thumb here: add as many images as you can, and you can include a profile photo, a logo, and then different types of photos about your business. You can see in the screenshot where they're organized into different sections like interior photos and exterior photos and food and drink. It'll depend on the type of business that you've actually created. Now, you can upload photos in JPEG or PNG formats with the actual file sizes being between 10K and 5 megabytes. The quality of these images is really important. It's not going to do you a whole lot of good to upload a bad picture. So you want to choose photos that are well lit, in focus, and large enough for people to actually see clearly. If it helps, the recommended minimum dimensions of the image are 720 pixels wide by 720 pixels high. Finally, the images that you choose should be real. In other words, don't use stock art here. We want to see real pictures of your business. Now, back on the dashboard, there's one other photo that's next to Manage Photos. It's called Add Virtual Tour. This is an optional feature, but if it fits for your business, it's a great way to make your business listing stand out. What this does is it connects you with a program that Google has with trusted photographers and agencies. And these are people who are certified by Google. They're not Google employees, but they are authorized to come to your business and take a 3D tour using Google Street View technology. And so you can go to click on Add Virtual Tour to see examples of what they can do, find trusted photographers that are in your area, and then contact them to get a quote. Again, this is not a Google employee, but they have been certified to create these for you, and they can really help a storefront business stand out on their business listings. Okay, let's go a little bit further down the page. And you'll see that the dashboard is organized into these sections. They're sometimes called cards that will connect you to other features and other products that Google offers for your businesses. In this example, the first one that you see is labeled Insights. And this is not Google Analytics Insights. This is insights into how your business is visible across Google. Like, the approximate number of views and clicks when people find you on the search results, or when people get directions on the maps. You will start to see data here after your business is verified. Now, the next section or card that you see is labeled reviews. From here, you can read and respond to business reviews that are left about you on Google. Business owners very often ask for advice about what to do about negative reviews, and the usual question is, how do I take them off? So Google won't remove a review unless it violates a content policy. So instead, we encourage you to actually respond to reviews. And maybe the review, maybe you respond by explaining a company policy, or you thank a happy customer for the positive feedback that they left. And you'll have this ability after the business verification is complete. The third section that you see is going to connect you to Google+, which is the social side of Google. And that's a place where you can share information and post business updates. And last but not least, in the screenshot, you're going to see advertising activity. So if you advertise the business on Google, you can see data highlights for clicks and photo calls and ad views. And from here, you can go ahead and access your advertising account. Let me show you one other thing that you can do from the dashboard. Let me advance here. There you go. Oops. One other thing. Well, let's just go straight into this part then. There we go. To get back to it, that's what I wanted to show you. To get back to it, you have to go to www.google.com/business. And this is where you would actually sign in. And so you can go to Google My Business anytime. Anytime you need to make a change, you go back here and you can sign in. And don't forget, until your business verification is complete, you won't start to see the information that you put in now, the changes that you've added. So you do need to go ahead and complete that verification process. You also have the option to make updates on the go using a mobile app. And they have it for both Android and Apple devices. So you can download them from Google Play or from the App Store. Okay. So let's finish this up by showing you how you actually complete the verification process. And the verification process is the last step in order to make sure that your changes can show up. So let's assume that we've fast forwarded to the day when you actually get the verification code in the mail. And so now you have your PIN code in hand, and you go back to where I showed you how to sign in, to google.com/business. And you click sign in here to get into Google My Business. Now, we're here, we're back at that dashboard, and what you'll do is you'll look for the button, I've pointed it out here, labeled Enter Code. Now, the verification code that you receive in the mail is valid for 30 days, so you should be able to do this as soon as it arrives. If you lose the PIN code or you exceed the 30-day limit, you can request a replacement by clicking the link labeled I don't have a code, and that starts the whole process of getting the new mailing again. So good rule of thumb, as soon as it arrives in the mail, head back to Google My Business at google.com/business and go ahead and enter that PIN code in order to not miss that 30-day window. All right, let me show you the final step. So now this is what that last screen looks like. Enter the code exactly as it appears inside the postcard and click Submit. And at that point, you're done. It means that Google has verified that the location is where you say it is because we've received mail at that location. And now you can go ahead and actively manage and keep your business information up to date. There we go. So one other thing that we wanted to point out today as a bonus for being here with all of our trusted partners today, and partners, we really, really appreciate you. We also offer an option for businesses attending this workshop to verify using our expedited verification option. If you do this, it means you can skip that postcard. You don't even need to request it being mailed to you. You just need to go ahead through the steps of actually creating the business listings, just like I walked you through. And then once you are completely done and you have hit, create that listing, you can actually go to this page, gybo.com/verify my business. And from here, you can access a form. You want to put in the information about the partner event that you are at right now, and so put in the information provided by your partners, and enter your Google username, and that's the username that you use to create the business listing. And then we have folks in Ann Arbor, Tim and Samantha, and they are standing by, and as you folks create your business listings and submit the requests for verification, they will be going through and they will be reviewing all of the information and pushing the verifications through manually. So once they have gone through it, you'll get an email back to that Gmail address that you entered to let you know that your business is all set and verified and up to date, or they'll get back to you if they have any questions. So that's our nice bonus for anyone who's attending this morning's workshop, is the ability to access expedited verification. Now, when you go through the process, remember I said you might also see phone verification or webmaster tools. Those are also instant, so you could go ahead and do that. But if you don't see phone, if you don't see webmaster tools, then you can go ahead and use this form, and that will help expedite this whole process for you. All right, and so that's it for my portion of the class. Thank you all so much for tuning in this morning. We really, really appreciate it. And this will help your business get found across Google Search and Google Maps. If you have any questions, write them down, and we'll be available after Marvin teaches his class to help you to help answer any questions that you may have. And so that's it. I'm Stasia. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marvin. Take it away, Marvin.
Thank you, Stasia. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you all. My name is Marvin Augustin with StartLogic. Today I'm going to be running you through our quick and easy website builder called SiteExpresso. A couple of things before we actually get started. Usually there's a lot of questions related to those who already have a website built out already and want to know how is it going to work in order to associate the domain that they already own somewhere else, whether it has a site or not, to the SiteExpresso website. So a couple things. If you already have a presence currently and already live, don't perform these steps until you actually have the entire site built on our end, if you so choose. If you have a domain name and the domain name does not yet have a website attached to it, then you can go ahead and start right away and continue building your site here. So please jot this down. It's pretty important for you to associate it. The first step to associate actually is to publish your website through SiteExpresso. That's number one. You must publish. And the second step is to actually register a new domain that matches, of course, your existing domain. So, for example, if your domain name was marvelousmarv.com, for example, that you already had somewhere else, you would register a new one, marvelousmarv.net, for example. So essentially, you would have two. And then at that point, you can then begin to associate the domain that you already have. I will be providing a link at the end of this presentation that's going to have a video that's going to walk you through the entire process from beginning to end. So do expect that once we're done here. And so you'll follow the next couple steps from there. But like I said, you must publish and you must register anew. Now, once your domain, the existing domain, is fully moved over, the existing one, you can then decide whether or not you want to keep both or delete the new one and keep the original one that you have. So you don't actually have to keep both of them the entire time. And there'll be a place in the Domain Central that you'll see and within the control panel so that you can remove the domain. So those are one of the most common questions. So I just want to make sure I touched on that. So what you get for free for a year through StartLogic is you all get 3 website pages and a domain, obviously. The website pages come with support, so you all get chat support. So there'll be a place for you to start chat support on the logged out site on startlogic.com. There'll be opportunity to start chat support within the logged in account so you can get help. You also get hosting for the site, obviously, and you get the tool called SiteExpresso to build and maintain the site. Now, the hosting, the support, and the tool, that's going to transition to $5.99 a month after the first year. So once you actually create your account with StartLogic, obviously the year begins, and like I said, that hosting, the support, and the tool, it's basically $6 month over month over month. For each domain that you have, it'll be $16 if you register to .com, So obviously the .coms are a little bit more common, a little bit more popular. So those would be $16. If you registered a .net or .org domain name, at most those would be a $9 or $8. So that's what you get for free, and that's what happens after the first year. Having said that, we can go ahead and continue. So this is our agenda for today. We are going to first create a StarLogic account, and then we are going to customize and publish the design, and then we're going to talk about domain names, and we're going to access your account. So basically how to get back in, which is very important. The SiteExpresso tool is really easy to use. One of the really cool things about SiteExpresso that I'll touch on early on is that, number one, SiteExpresso actually helps you create content. And content is very, very important to be visible on the web. And so we actually ask you a few questions and help you generate that content. The other cool thing that you all get with SiteExpresso is that the moment you publish your website, you not only have a desktop site, but you also have a mobile site. And this mobile site is a mobile responsive site, one of the top mobile types of site that you can get, which is mobile responsive. And what that means is that the size and the dimensions of your website will change in favor of the device, whether or not they're using a cell phone or a tablet or what have you. So right now, search engines are actually beginning to rank you based on how well your site is mobile friendly. And so it's very important to have a mobile site, a mobile responsive site, in order to assure that you take advantage of all the visibility that you can have on the search engine. So congratulations for signing up for the SiteExpresso site, because like I said, you now have a mobile site. So let's move along. So this is how you create your account. So let's walk through that. So the first step is to go to www.gybo.com/business. And when you get to this page, over on your left, you should see does your business info show up? So you want to skip through that part and scroll all the way down until you can't scroll anymore. And on the bottom right-hand side, you should see a link that says build a free website. So you should see that. Go ahead and click on that. And once you click on build a free website, you should see this window. So basically this window is basically saying, hey, agree to the terms of service and sign in with your Google account. With StarLogic, we partnered with Google to help establish free sites for everyone as part of this initiative, and we wanted to make it easy for you to log in and log out. So we didn't want you to have to remember another set of usernames and passwords to log in. We wanted to make it easy, so your same Google account that you're using to create the account is the same Google account and password that you're going to use to log in going forward. So no extra password that you have to remember here. So go ahead and click on sign in. And by the way, when you click on sign in with Google, do make sure you have pop-up blocker off, because if you have it on, you may not get the additional window that'll ask you for permissions to allow. So when you click on this button, it should pop up another window. It should show you your login for your Google account, and it should ask you to click on the allow button. If you're not already logged in right now, you'll get the prompt for username and password, and then it'll ask you to allow. But again, like I said, you have to make sure pop-up blocker is off to proceed. So once you do that, that'll automatically take you here. Once you get here, this should let you know that you now have a StarLogic account, and what you want to do here is simply set up a security question and a password. So go ahead and choose your security question, and then go ahead and answer it. This will be what we ask you when you come to chat support. So whatever you type in here, just remember the answer, because when you come to support, we'll ask you for your security answer, and once you provide it, we can then go ahead and proceed with the support and helping you with whatever question that you have. From here, you're going to click on submit, obviously, and then the page is going to load. So if it's loading, give it a second to load, because you all are using the machines at the same time. And then once it's done loading, you should see the red button that will say Ready, Set, Build. So go ahead and click on Ready, Set, Build, and that should take you to this questionnaire. Now, the reason I said SiteExpresso is quick and easy is because we've taken a lot of the legwork out of having to build a website. And so we do this by this part that you're looking at right here. We're asking you some preliminary questions to not only fill some spaces in your website and fill some content, but also to help optimize your website. So in this first section, we're asking you for your business name, business phone number, business address, and so on and so forth. Obviously, if you work from home and you want to hide that information, there's a checkbox that's directly underneath the address that you can check so that it hides it. And the same thing for the phone number. But I do suggest that you at least have a phone number and or email to showcase for your visitors so they can get in contact with you. So that's very important that you do. Now, the reason that we ask you for the information is not only to fill in some of the content of your website, but also to optimize, like I said. And you will notice once you get into the builder that that business name and that business phone number or address that you place will automatically be in the header of every single page that exists and every single page that you add on thereafter. So you don't have to continue adding the basic information for your business for every single page that you add. We've taken that legwork out, and that's what makes it a little bit easier to build your website. Now, if you scroll a little bit further down, you should see the next portion of this questionnaire. Now we're asking you for your industry. Now, I understand that a lot of businesses may have unique types of industries and that sort of thing. You may not necessarily find your industry here. What we want you to do is just pick the industry that matches your business the closest. And then, once you've selected that, you'll actually have the opportunity to be more precise and more specific within your website content to disclose what exactly that you do as far as what you offer as a service or product. And speaking of services or products, directly underneath that, we want you to pick what do you provide. Do you provide a service? Do you provide a product? Do you provide both? So pick the one that's best for your business. And underneath that is very important, one of the most important actually, is we're asking you for the nearby cities and regions that you provide services for. And this is how we begin to optimize your site, because we want to let the search engines know that you provide services in these areas to better optimize you for these areas. And so plug in the nearby cities and regions that you service and separate each of those by comma. I understand Colorado Springs is joining us today, so a little bit of familiarity for you all. So as an example, for you guys, you'll obviously put Colorado Springs, you'll put Denver, you'll put maybe Lawn Tree, which isn't too far. You maybe put Castle Rock, which isn't too far from you guys, and that sort of thing. So you'll plug in those nearby cities and regions, and you separate each one of those by comma. So just make sure for each one you put a comma after it, and you should be good to go. Now, this form in its entirety is not set in stone. So if you make a mistake, if you want to change something later, it's totally possible. I'll show you all how to get back to it after we continue the presentation here. So just know that whatever you plug in here, if you don't know all the cities and regions, no problem. You can always come back to it and plug it in later. But for now, fill out as much as you can and then hit continue. Once you hit continue, now you're actually in the web builder, Site Expresso, when you were going to customize the site. And so here's when we actually begin to create that look and feel. Now, the first couple of things that you're going to do is obviously create a style for your website. This is the look and feel of the website, what every prospect is going to see when they come to your website for the first time. So it's pretty important to convey a look that's susceptible to your customers. So right now you're being presented with a series of different styles and mostly different color patterns. Now, we don't want to go willy-nilly here, right? We don't want to be really extravagant. It's not the first day of school where we're trying to put on the best clothes, when we're trying to have all the colors go together. That's not going to work, right? What we want to do is make sure that we're professional, and in most cases, simple and is better. Okay, so simplicity is better in this case. So one of the things that I usually ask is, what are your logo colors? So let's just assume that one of you have a logo color that is blue and yellow, right? And so if your logo colors is blue and yellow, which color background should you choose? It kind of depends, right? What I can tell you now is you probably don't want blue or yellow because you don't want to take away from your logo colors. You also don't want to take away from your text because all of your text is going to be black. So you don't want to compound it with another dark color. So if you're not sure which color to go with, just go with a white background. That's the safest background that you can possibly choose, and I will promise you your logo will be visible, unless obviously your logo is all white, and your text will be visible because obviously that will be all black. So again, choose the colors that is more professional and in most cases more simple, and think about your customer base, right, in that regard. So if you have, like say for example, you have a daycare or something like that, maybe your parents and the kids want a series of colors. So if your logo colors are dark colors, maybe you want to go with light colors as your background color and that sort of thing. So just make sure your colors do not clash. It's the best thing I can tell you here. All right. So once you choose one, you can go ahead and hit save. Again, nothing is set in stone. So if you want to change it later, totally possible. Now, directly underneath where it says page and style is the header portion. That is the portion that we actually can add our logo. So if you double click in that portion, you'll see this option. This option is basically saying, what business name do you want us to disclose, which should already be there by default because you already gave us that information. So like I said, pretty easy to build a website. We'll start with Site Espresso. Underneath that, we're asking you for, do you want to show your logo? Do you want to show just your business name? Or do you want to show both? In most cases, you want to show both your business name and logo, so it's already set by default. And now you want to upload your logo, and you want to hit your computer to upload it. Now, obviously, the logo needs to fit perfectly. So please jot down these dimensions that you don't want to exceed when it comes to your logo. So at best, you want to be 100 wide by 100 tall as far as pixels are concerned. Generally speaking, you don't want to go beyond 150 to 150. So 150 by 150 is your limit as far as height and width for your logo. As long as you stay within that, it should fit right in. Now, obviously, some of you may have logos that are a little bit more large, so I would suggest maybe taking that logo that's more large that you having trouble to change the dimensions of to a graphic designer, or you can use the tons of image editing softwares that are out there. Most are for free, others you can pay for, but basically there is another alternative if your logo is too large. Again, once you've done deciding whether or not you want to show your both your logo and business name, and make sure the business name is correct, and upload a photo. Once you're done with that, you hit save directly on the bottom right there. Now we're going to talk about images. Images are just as important. Obviously, they're the first couple things that your visitors are going to see. They're eye-catching, they're engaging. So in this section, this is the actual first image that people will see when they get to your homepage. So we call this the hero image. And if you notice, this is more of a rectangular and more wide image placeholder here. And so we suggest that you use your own images. If you don't have your own images, obviously we have an image library here, which is totally free that you can take advantage of. But at best, I would recommend using your own. And so you want this image to fit perfectly in this slot, and you don't want to put images that are too tall. So jot this down as far as what dimensions that you want to be in to make sure this image fits perfectly. And so those are 1100, so 1100 wide by 400 tall. Do not exceed 1100 wide by 400 tall, especially the 400 tall part, because anything beyond 400 tall, it just cut the tops of your images. So stay within those parameters as far as your hero image, and it'll look perfect. Now, a couple of things that we want to talk about as far as images are concerned. Number one is that Site Espresso is compatible with mainly these three image file extensions. And those are, so jot these down, that is going to be JPEG, JPG, GIF, GIF, and PNG. So PNG, GIF, and JPG. So as long as it has dot and one of those three, it should work with the Site Espresso tool. If it is not one of those three, I strongly suggest converting it. And again, there's tons of image converting tools out there. So just want to save you some headache if you have another file extension that's not one of these three, so you're not frustrated, so you know why. Next thing we want to talk about is image sizes. You want to make sure that your images are not too large. And here's the problem if your images are too large. If your images are too large, and you probably think about it already, it's going to take some time for your pages to load because it has to load the entire page. So if you have an image that's too big, it just needs that time. And I will wager that myself or anyone else out there who's going to your site for the first time who doesn't have it cached is going to have to wait for your pages to load. And most likely, people don't have patience, like myself, and we will most likely leave and probably not come back. So jot this down as far as the image sizes that you want to be. So the first way to measure images is the DPI. So stay at 72 DPI and stay at or below 600 kilobytes. So if you stay within that range, images should be fairly sizable and it should work just fine. The next thing we want to talk about is making your images visible on the web and searchable. If you want to do a quick exercise, you can do a search for my most favorite player in the whole wide world, who unfortunately is retiring, Kobe Bryant. So if you do a search for Kobe Bryant and you search for images, if you click on those images, you'll notice that those images have a description as far as the file name. It has a name. They're not just letters and numbers attached to the file name. Because you notice whenever you take a picture with your camera or your cell phone and you save it to your computer, it's usually saved as image 1, image 2, or it has an alphanumeric name as the file name. You do not want to do that because your images are now visible on the web. So instead of making it image 1 or alphanumeric name, you want to name that image. So if it's in front of your storefront, instead of a file name alphanumeric, give it the name of your storefront. No need to have spaces or capital letters or underscores. Google can read and search engines can read the name without having spaces in it. So totally put in the name of your brick and mortar store. If it's a photo of your brick and mortar or a service, just make sure you give all your images a proper naming convention and not the alphanumeric or image 1 or image 2. It can only help you. So that's the next phase of optimizing your website, which is making your images searchable on the web. So that's it for images. Let's move on. Now we're going to talk about adding content. So as I said earlier, one of the really cool things that SiteExpresso does is that it helps you build your content. For those of you that have writer's block and just have a tough time getting started with your writing, like myself, we'll help you. And so let me just talk about real quick what you want to go for, what you're shooting for. So your homework and your goal as far as content is concerned on the homepage, so jot this down, your goal is to build out 250 words. But don't limit yourself to that, but just build out 250 at the very least. In your next 2 important pages, at least 150 words for your next 2 pages. This is going to help your prospects because they'll be able to get a lot of their questions answered that they may have before they even call you, which most people do, because you have enough content to kind of explain who you are, what you do, and why choose you. And not only that, search engines will have enough content to pull and pick keywords from your content to properly optimize your website. So speaking of that, your homework also is to think about your top 3 keyword and or keyword phrases. Think about your top 3 and generate content in sentence format on your homepage. So do remember, don't just throw words in there without any sentences around it. Make sure they're in sentence format because if you just throw words in there, it'll just hurt you. It won't be an advantage. Now, I just want to also give you a quick exercise to kind of see how important it is to generate those keywords. So I actually was in the market for cookware some time ago, and I didn't know whether or not I wanted to go with cast iron and the other types of cookwares. And I was doing research, and as part of my research, my keyword was obviously cookware. And if you do a quick search right now for cookware online, and you click on the top 3 websites that populate, just do a quick word search on their homepage. You should notice that they have the word cookware at least 3 to 5 times, or maybe even more on their website, right? and they're talking about it in sentence format. So that's just an exercise for you to see visually how they've done it and how important it is and what advantage it's going to bring to you by creating those keywords in sentence format. So keep that in mind as you're building out your website pages. I would say before you go into, plugging in like images and like creating pages and that sort of thing, your first assignment should be that content. Because like I said, that's the first things that the search industry will see. Now, I'm going to run you through now how to have Site Expresso help generate some of that content for you. First step is to obviously double-click to add great content about your business. Once you do that, you'll see the two options, write my own text or write text for me. In this exercise that I'm demonstrating, we're going to do write text for me. And then you'll be asked a couple of questions. One of the main ones will be, obviously, how do you refer to your customers? Are they clients? Are they donors? And so on and so forth. If you have a different cool name that you refer to your clients, you can choose create your own and just type it in. The next question, or the last question rather, is the most important one. Because all of you will be using this tool, and to really separate your content from anyone else's, this question is going to make the difference. So this question basically says, what do your clients like about your business? So give us 1 or 2 sentences on what they like about your business. And if you're looking at me today and you're thinking, it's like, well, I don't know what they like about my business. Fine. Rephrase the question. Ask yourself, what would you like them to like about your business? And plug that in within 1 or 2 sentences. Again, you can always change this, but for now, for this exercise, go ahead and plug it in. Even if you only have 1 sentence for now, you can always add it, the second sentence later. When you're done, you're going to hit continue. After you continue, you're going to see this window. The first step is basically saying, how do you want your writing style to appear? Do you want it in a formal writing style, or do you want it in the casual writing style? So I would say if you provide professional service, like you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, things of that nature, you're in construction, and that sort of thing, you most likely want a formal writing style. If you have a studio where you're a trainer, or you do, I don't know, acupuncture, or things like that, you have a daycare, then maybe casual is the best fit for you. What you want to really think about is who are your prospects, and what writing style will be best for them. So I've given you some examples, but at the end of the day, you're the business, and you've been running it for a while. You choose which one is best for your clientele. And then, if you notice, it has an edit text option. Everyone should be clicking on an edit text, because I will promise you this is not 250 words, so we're not going to let you off that easy. You still have to build that content. So click on edit text to add additional content, and obviously edit what is written there so you can make changes. When you're done, you're going to hit use this information, and like I said, you can always get back to it, add more content. Moving right along, in this slide that you're seeing right now, these are all the other elements that will show in the Site Expresso tool. Now remember, I said in the Site Expresso tool. So if they're grayed out, as we're looking at right now, it means once you publish, they will not show. If an element is gray, it won't show when you publish. So don't worry that it's in the Site Expresso Builder thinking that it's going to be shown in the published version. It won't unless it's activated. So if you activate it and fill it out, it will show. And once you deactivate it, it will not show after you publish again. So just know that once it's activated, once you publish, it will show. If it's deactivated, no worries, it'll be missing. Now, one element here is called the double click to call to action. Everyone that's watching today should activate this element. Essentially, what it's doing is it's giving every single prospect that comes to your website the next step on how to do business with you. The double click to call to action is going to offer you the opportunity to say if you want people to call this number if they want to do business with you, if you want people to email you or fill out the form that you'll respond to. So there's a form that they can fill out with their email address. That form will go to you, and you can reach out to them from there, or you can just disclose your email address. And there's also opportunity to show your address so they can come to you. It's very important that you walk prospects through what you want to do as far as taking the next step, and this double click to call to action really does it here, because it's going to be above the fold, which is before you have to scroll down, and it's going to be somewhere in the top so it's visible and prominent for them to take advantage of. So do make sure you double-click the call to action and fill that part out. Next is adding pages. Adding pages is pretty simple. You want to click on page. Next to page, click on that, and you'll get this dialog box that'll appear. You'll be able to choose products, services, about, and that sort of thing that you can add on. One other really cool one is a blog. So if you have a blog elsewhere, somewhere else, you can associate that blog and have it showcase on the actual website by just grabbing the blog URL, RSS feed URL, and you just plug that in, and it will show. And the blog is pretty cool because it makes your website look dynamic, because there's always activity on the blog. And speaking of which, you all want to maintain your website on a regular basis, right? Search engines do not like static pages. So if the website has not been updated in quite some time, the search engines are going to think that the information is outdated. So maybe it won't rank it higher because there's another website that does the same thing that's been updated previously and updated regularly. So my suggestion to you all is, whether you have a blog or not, is to update your website regularly. Now, in the beginning stages here, you all will be making changes to your website. You'll be 25% complete, and you'll build from there. But even after you're done with the website, you want to go in there at the very least once a month, maybe every 2 weeks, but at the very least once a month, go in there and make a change and update and publish. That's what I would recommend for you all. Now, once you're done selecting the page, obviously you hit Add Page, and it'll be added to your site. All the information will be pre-populated that you gave to us before, and voila, you can go ahead and continue building that next page. Now, let's talk about publishing. So, raise your hand if you know how long it takes to be on the first couple pages on the search engines after publishing the page. I can't see you all, but I would wager that no one that's watching right now has raised their hand. No one actually knows how long it takes. And the reason for that is because there's a bunch of other elements at play on the back end, as far as making sure that the search engine put the right website in play for prospects that are making that search. The reason I ask you all that question is because I get some businesses who are not quite ready to publish because their website is not 100% complete. Don't worry. I can promise you all that if you haven't given anyone the direct address to your website, no one's going to see it in the search results anytime soon, because you need to build your ranking. And if you are someone that goes to the last couple pages of the search results, so for example, page 300, page 100 of the search results, you have a lot of time on your hands, but most people don't do this. And so it's very likely that no one will see it right away. And so having said that, you all do want to publish regardless of how complete you are with that home page or your entire site. Furthermore, if you're not done and you publish and you continue making changes in publishing, you're now being viewed as a dynamic site because you're always making changes. So you look pretty good to the search engines in the beginning. So for those of you that are not afraid, and believe me, obviously click on Preview and Publish. This is how it works. You'll notice that the dialog box will show desktop and mobile. So as promised, you'll have a mobile and desktop site the moment you publish. So you can click on those tabs to see what it looks like on either device. And on the right-hand side, you'll see all your pages. So you can actually click on the page to see what it'll look like on desktop or mobile device. And if you notice on each page, there's a little pencil there. That little pencil, you need to take action on. So go ahead and put a note down to take advantage of that. And essentially, what that does is it gives you the opportunity to proper name your pages and properly give a description for all your pages. So as an example, we'll talk about the home page. So if you click on the pencil next to the home page, you'll notice the page name will be home. Obviously, you don't want to do that and leave it as home because you're not making yourself unique. At the very least, you want to put your business name in there, right? Because that's the home page of your business name. So instead of home, put in your business name. And underneath that, you'll see a short description. In the short description section, obviously you want to incorporate some keywords in sentence format and no more than 3 sentences. So stay within 3 sentences. Obviously, incorporate some keywords if you can. And like I said, make sure the naming convention makes it unique. So follow that same idea for your next 3 pages. Okay? And here's how it works. That page name and that page description is what you see when you do a search, a Google search, for example. The blue link that you click on in the search results is that page name, and that description underneath that you see in the search results is the page description that I'm talking about. So not only does it help the search engines to properly optimize your site, but it also helps the prospects who are looking at the search results to read. So as an example, I read obviously the page name, but I also read the description before I even click on that blue link, because I know that it only takes me a couple seconds to go back if it's the wrong page. But why waste those seconds? Why waste those precious seconds? I'll read the description first, and then if it makes sense to me, then I'll click on it. If it doesn't, I'll read the next description. So this is a way for you to entice your visitors to click on your link with the proper page description convention. Make sense? All right, moving along. Once you're done, you're going to hit publish. Once you hit publish, you'll now be given the option. It'll say congratulations, obviously, and you'll be given the option to yes, claim my domain name. So in blue on the right-hand side, you're going to choose yes, I want to claim my domain. And just know that in order for you to claim your domain, you must first publish. So you want to claim a domain name, but most of you will, you have to publish first. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And now you're going to get given this option to actually register your new domain name. So as a recommendation, we recommend that you actually incorporate a keyword within your domain name. So in this example, you should see Stasia's Bakery. Now what Stasia's done is she's actually added a keyword in her domain name as bakery because she bakes. And so whenever somebody does a search, the most common keyword that they'll type in if they're looking for bakery within a keyword phrase will be bakery. And that's actually what she's done. And so that just helped optimize your website a step further. Now when it comes to search engine optimization, you want to incorporate as many tools and as many steps as you can. The more the merrier, right? And so obviously we talked about the questionnaire, putting your nearby cities and regions. We talked about properly naming your images. We talked about having adequate keywords. And this is just yet another thing that you can do to optimize your site. And we actually talked about the blog. And so we talked about 4 or 5 different things to optimize your site. At best, you can take advantage of all, but if there's something that you can't, so be it. But we're just letting you know so you can take advantage of this next thing that you can take advantage of to properly optimize your site. So give that some thought and try to stay within no more than 3 words. Anything longer than 3 words is a little bit too long to remember, so keep it under 3 words and you should be fine. Now once you type the domain in and click on claim your domain, you'll get a list of domains underneath. Keep in mind that if you don't know what you want just yet, no worries. You can always come back and log in, publish the website once more, and be given this option to register a domain name. So if you don't know what you want, don't feel pressure to register it right at this moment. It's fine to take your time. Because I can tell you right now, if you register a domain name that you later don't want, you have second thoughts about, you just don't change the domain name. You actually have to do away with this domain name and register a new. Kind of like changing your license plates. You don't get to actually just erase the numbers on the plates and add some new numbers and letters. You actually have to go to the DMV, give back the old one, and actually get a new one. So there's a process if you decide you don't want that domain name later. So just make sure that's what you want before you continue. Now, like I said, if it is available, it'll be directly underneath as far as the results. In this example here, so Stasia's Bakery is available in .com, for example. If it's not available, you'll see some alternate extensions for that domain name. You see some alternate phrases. If that's not what you want, think about some synonyms for that keyword or that domain name, and just type another one in and see if that one is available. And then just kind of go from there. Now, if it is available, you can go ahead and click on it. And now you're given the option to plug in your credit card information. So here's why we prompt you for that information as you're registering a domain name. Domain names are renewed at the very least on an annual basis. If a domain name is not renewed on its renewal date, 80 days from there, it'll be released back to the public. And we understand that businesses like yourself wear many hats. So we want to help you keep track of one less item. So we want to automatically renew this domain name for you come time for renewal, which will most likely be a year from today if you, for example, registered it today. The second reason why we ask you for that credit card information is just in case someone were to come to chat and say, hey, I want to change this domain name, or hey, I want to move it. And the best way to prove ownership is the person that's going to be paying for it. So that's why those are the two reasons why we prompt you for that information. Now in this form, do pay attention. There's a section that prompts you for your email address. And so that email address, its purpose is obviously to know who is the registered owner for that domain name, but also to proceed on with the completion of the domain registration. You will get an email from StarLogic that will ask you, are you the one that registered this domain name? We want to verify that you actually registered it and that you are actually the owner. This is just a rule across all domain registers that we have to follow. So just be on the lookout in your spam and bulk mail for this email. It should get to you within 24 to 72 hours, and once it gets there, you just follow the prompts and you approve that you're the one that registered it. From there, it'll go ahead and register completely. If you do not respond to this email within 15 days of it being sent, your domain name will go dormant. It will not register. And in any event, if that does happen, you just come back to chat and we'll just resend it to you. No problem. But just keep in mind that you have 15 days to respond. So that's very important for you to know. Now let's talk about the next step. Now you're given the options to add email for $1. This is actually $1. And you can also add on domain privacy. Domain privacy is paid on an annual basis. It's $10. If you don't care for it, you can just uncheck it. But let me explain what it does. Domain privacy hides your personal information from the public database called a Whois database. Every domain name in existence is on a Whois database. And for those domain owners that don't have what is called domain privacy, their personal information such as your phone number, your email, your address, your name, and that sort of thing is posted publicly. Now, being that it's public, you're now subject to spam and telemarketing by mail or email and phone. So if you wanted to avoid those syndications because your information is public, because they know your business, and they know you have dinero, then they want your business, they'll want to reach out to you. So if you want to avoid that, you leave it checked. Like I said, it's $10 for the year. If you don't care for it, just uncheck it. When you're done deciding, go ahead and click on Buy Now, and that is all you need to do to register that domain. And you can now continue on with building the website. So in this example, we're going to go to Site Expresso. So click on the link that says Take Me Back to Site Expresso. And now we're going to talk about how to access your account. And so in this window, you're going to see that we're pointing to the control panel. The control panel, once I show it to you, that is where you go to first every single time you log into your account. Directly underneath that, though, is what I wanted to show you, and underneath the Publish button. Underneath the Publish and Preview button, you'll see it says Business Information. So remember I said earlier that if you made a mistake in the questionnaire in the very beginning, or if you wanted to add more nearby cities and regions, that wasn't the only opportunity that you have, wasn't lying. You can actually click on Business Information, and it'll show you that form again, and you can make changes to that at any time. Okay? Now let's go to the control panel. Here's the control panel. Like I said, every time you log back in, you'll be taken here. A couple things to talk about here. Obviously, what we're directing you to right now, edit your site with Site Expresso. You click on that to make changes to your website, publish, and it'll go live automatically. Next to that is the Domain Central. So as I said earlier, if you have a domain name that you want to associate, you're going to be going there after you register the new one, and after you approve the new one verification, and after that new one has fully propagated as far as the registration, then you'll have access to Domain Central. And before you even go there, go to the video that I'll show later on, that I'll send you the link for, so you can walk step by step on the association for that existing domain rather. Next to that, really quickly, is the selling online with Ecwid. So for anyone that has selling online needs, you can associate the Site Expresso website with the Ecwid tool, which helps you sell online. So if you have selling online needs, you can add on Ecwid. And the first program for Ecwid, if I believe, is under $6. You can sell up to 20 products and kind of go from there. If you want to sell up to 50 products and need more functionality, like associating your website to Facebook and other social medias, it's about $9 or $10, and it kind of goes from there. So depends on what your needs are to sell. You choose the one that's right for you. I just want to make sure you all knew that you can sell online if you wanted to, because that's often an ask for most businesses. Now, let's talk about how to sign back in. So signing back in is pretty easy. You go to starlogic.com, as you can see here, and on the top right there, you'll notice Login. You click on Login, and then from there, you'll be taken to this page. Do yourself a favor, make a note, ignore username and domain name, ignore password, ignore login. Pay attention to what's underneath that, which is signing with Google. So whichever Google account or Google email address you used earlier to create the account, use the same username and password to log in. So you click on this button, and it'll ask you for the username and password, your Google account username and password, and it'll log you right back into the control panel. If you're already logged in on another page, it'll just ask you for permission, and it'll log you right back in. So that's how you get back in. And let's talk about support. So how to get support after today. Like I said earlier, you all have chat support. So if you notice on the left-hand side there, it says Access Chat Support. So you click on Contact Us and choose the Chat Support option. And on the very top, you'll notice that you can type in a question to get answers on our knowledge base. And on the very bottom is where you can actually create tickets. So our goal is to respond to your tickets within a 24 48-hour period that you submit to us. If it's not that important that you get an answer right away, maybe you can submit a ticket and get an answer later. But if it is pretty important, pretty imperative for you, I would just suggest to go to chat support. And that concludes the how to create your website with Site Expresso tool under StarLogic. So I want to thank you all very much for joining today. If you have any questions, please present those to your workshop presenters. Because myself, Stasia, and everyone else are going to go to the community page and help answer any additional questions that you have related to maps, and/or websites, or what have you. So, thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Namaste.